Hello fun people, I'm Isaac Carlson, and I'm focused on spreading magic by discussing Disney. And for some reason, we know ancestors of the Cootkin, the Duck family, and Clan McDuck from generations in the past, from hundreds of years ago, but the identity of Huey, Dewey, and Louie's father has been left unanswered, which I find extremely troubling. And that's why today we're going to be exploring one of the biggest mysteries within Donald Duck's family tree. We are going to be wrestling with everything we know about the triplets' father. And of course, if you are new here, consider subscribing and joining this magical community. Disney animation means so much to so many, and it's been wonderful to see all of us finding each other and coming together, and we'd love to have you. Now, believe it or not, Huey, Dewey, and Louie's father dates back to their first appearance in a 1937 Donald Duck Sunday strip where their mother, Della Duck, writes to Donald that the boys had to stay with him because they had placed a firework under their father's chair as a prank, which led to him getting sent to the hospital. Kind of a harsh prank to blow up their father's butt, but I'm also sure it was a joke that none of them would ever forget. But anyways, no pun intended, that was the reason that the boys' parents had disappeared originally, which is something they mourn over with Scrooge in the 12th chapter of The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck from 1994. While they had clearly gone too far with their prank, they did continue to feel destroyed that their parents were no longer with them. There's also the possibility that Huey, Dewey, and Louie's father may have passed away in the hospital because of their prank, which sure would be a dark twist, but I think we've seen Donald Duck take a bit more. In my mind, I'm pretty sure the boy's father could take an explosion every once in a while, especially since he was married to the mighty Della Duck. And I believe something else occurred to him very similarly to the reveal as to what happened to his wife. Yes, the absence of both of their parents leads Huey, Dewey, and Louie to be formally adopted by Donald, which is revealed in the 1942 cartoon titled The New Spirit. It sure seemed like no one really believed that Mr. or Mrs. Duck was alive, but we do find out more to what happened to these adventurous ducks. Through comics and the 2017 DuckTales show, we are shown why the triplets' mother Della had been gone for so many years. While the cartoonist and author Carl Barks once believed that the boy's mother and father left them due to their irritating behavior, we actually found out that Della Duck had been adventuring through space, which I have to say I'm really happy about. We found out that after becoming a seasoned adventurer and pilot with her twin brother Donald and her uncle Scrooge, Della dreamed of giving her children the stars, so Scrooge planned to gift her a rocket named the Spear of Selene to celebrate the birth of Della's children. But before he could give her the rocket, she discovered it for herself, blasted off, and was caught in a cosmic storm that trapped her on the moon for over a decade. I much prefer having the boy's mother as someone who actually loved them and wanted a relationship with them instead of a cold-hearted and selfish duck. And let me know if you think so too down in the comments. Plus, getting lost out into space is so darn cool. I mean, going to another celestial body, that's the place where you want to get lost. Not necessarily if you wanted to survive, but anyways, it was just so cool to be able to see Della Duck have the chance to become an amazing mother. And I don't know about you, but I love this story. Seeing Della Duck overcome the massive barrier that kept her away from her family, overcoming that and getting back to her boys was so amazing to see. Della is definitely in my short list of fantastic cartoon mothers with Queen Ariana from Tangled the series. I'm a fan of gritty and harsher stories from time to time, but when I watch Disney animations, I really like seeing heroes rise above evil, vanquish their foes, and we get to see them grow. And that's the type of story we got to see from Della Duck. The creators of the DuckTales reboot seem especially interested in building upon the stories that had come before, using ideas that have been established outside of the original show and through their own creative efforts. So it feels like now that they've been able to talk about the story of Della Duck, going into the boy's father is a place that feels very logical when they expand in the future. One arc feels like it should explore what happened to the mysterious Mr. Duck, but where in between all of the Duck family adventures does the boy's father fit into this story? For now, what do I think happened to him? Well, we do find out from past family trees that this duck has the last name Duck, had a bit of trouble getting his picture taken without a bird flying in front of him, had a buzz cut, appeared to have a bit more of a stocky build, and looked to be a friendly duck. And trust me, we can tell in the classic family tree that was created by Don Rosa what type of personality these ducks really have. I mean, clearly Pintail Duck is a bit of a scallywag, Dirty Dingus McDuck is quite the grouch, and Luke Goose has no clue what is going on anytime. And if you'd like to learn more about all of these ducks, you can check out my discussion of Donald Duck's entire family tree, which I have linked down below. Other artists had a bit of a different way of depicting him, but that's not typically what is believed to be his look. Beyond what we can tell from his photograph, though, some believe that the last name of the boy's father being Duck, paired with them calling Daisy Duck their aunt, could mean that their father was Daisy's sister. But I don't super buy into that idea since Donald is their uncle, which in my mind makes Daisy a sort of aunt to them regardless of whether she is married to Donald or not. In other stories like Don Rosa's Return to Xanadu and a parody story by the same author titled Return to Duckburg Place played around with the long-running mystery and toyed with the fate of Mr. McDuck, but no work has really come forward to provide any definitive stories. But I think there's still hope to find some answers for now. With the buzzed haircut and collared shirt on Mr. Duck, there's speculation that he could have been a military man and subsequently died in a war. That could provide an answer to why he would have never been able to return to his children and his wife, why no one ever talked poorly of him, and why it might have also been really hard to bring him up because he died so tragically. Now, he doesn't necessarily have to have died a war hero. He could have just died in a normal, typical way, like long age or heart disease or cancer or something horrible like that. But I feel like if he's a part of the Duck family, he probably has a much larger role to play in the world. And as we've seen from the DuckTales reboot, we have seen how grand of stories anyone in the Duck family has. Each person has their own adventure within them, so I think the same would be the case for Mr. Duck. And to expand on that military idea a little bit more, maybe Huey, Dewey, and Louie's father was a military man who actually worked as an astronaut. This is an idea that originally came up since there is a cousin of Donald named Cosmo Duck who was an astronaut, and a brother of Daisy Duck was wearing a spacesuit at one point. So people have speculated that these are one and the same, that maybe this is Cosmo Duck and he is in fact the boy's father. But while I still don't necessarily agree that a relative of Donald or Daisy would be Huey, Dewey, and Louie's father, this idea that he was an astronaut like Della intrigued me quite a bit and got my head turning. Maybe similarly to Della, Mr. Duck was a part of the military as a pilot who worked on experimental ships and who dreamed of exploring the universe. He could have trained Della to go into space or trained with her in an academy. They could have met while working together to go on the greatest adventure of their lives. And maybe the reason that he was gone was because he piloted one of the ships that Scrooge built that went out in search for Della when she was lost in the cosmic storm. I think it's possible that he could still be out there looking for her, which would further establish the theme of family sticking together through all adversity, would continue to support Huey, Dewey, and Louie's adventurous spirit and excitement for the world, and perfectly ties their father into the story that we already know about Della Duck. I hope this duck isn't someone who abandoned his children or died without ever being talked about again, or is related at all to the rest of Donald and Della's family, especially since there's no strong evidence supporting those claims. That's why it excites me so much to believe that Huey, Dewey, and Louie's father was in fact a brave, kind, dutiful, and adventurous astronaut who would never leave anyone he loved behind. I think he was a duck who would never stop until his family was safe. But let me know down below what your thoughts and theories are on the triplets' father. Also make sure to subscribe and click the beautiful bell, and then click on another magical video in the description or on the screen. Finally, as always, thanks for watching and have a magical day.